Is online.
Yep.
Okay, so webinar has started. We're recording. And I've got nobody online yet, so that's good. Okay, so we're recording. All right, go ahead and do your business and I'll work on pulling up my email online.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order because we know that John Sauter and Sloan will not be here tonight. I haven't heard from Emerson. But I'm sure that, we can fill him in on anything, that he's missed, so. Let's go ahead and start with roll call. Lexi O'Brien, present.
Joe McGruder.
John Buck, present.
Barb Strang, here.
All right. We have minutes from last meeting, but we don't have a quorum, so we'll put that off until next month.
Yeah, we don't have one.
No.
Oh,
Let you bring your imaginary friend up, Greg.
Yeah,
no,
Can't actually do any business, but
we can't actually do any business.
yeah, no, I was gonna just give some updates and,
Oh,
it may be a really short meeting tonight.
okay.
the right one to come to, John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I got another participant. Who is it? It's
Oh, it's
Emerson,
Emerson, okay.
but he doesn't count
He
either.
doesn't count.
He doesn't count.
He matters.
Sorry.
He doesn't count.
He doesn't count towards the quorum, but he can be here.
We're only missing John.
Well, but
Because Scott's
Sloan's
no
not a
longer-
voting member.
Sloan's not a voting
The
member
other
either.
Scott is not a member, the only other member, but I haven't seen her for many years.
Tina.
It's Tina Scott.
Yep.
Clark Scott, so.
So we really just need to add more members.
We need to.
have-
we need to
What do
replace-
you mean I
we need to
don't
replace
count?
Scott.
You don't count, he knows that means.
Yeah, we need to replace Scott.
Well, we're short a few members.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I think there's supposed to be 9 members, 9 voting members, so. We can hear updates though on the search for the new chief. I know you were saying there's.
Yeah, I can give you an
Next
update.
round.
So we're down to 5 finalists, I believe. So it's 4 external candidates. I believe they're all from out of state and me. And they're in the background phases right now. So they're going through the backgrounds, they're going through our references, and all that. And the next step is the April 22nd and 23rd. Check the dates. Yep, April 22nd and 23rd will be in-person interviews with the remaining candidates. So that's the next step.
Is there a date by which they want everything concluded in?
No, I have not heard of a finalized date or an announcement date or anything like that. So I don't know during the background phases or whatnot, of reference checks or anything, whether those 5, whether there could be eliminations during this phase or not. But the interviews are scheduled for the 22nd or 23rd, but I don't know what will happen during between now and then. So,
We don't have any community feedback. But I think, have some updates on listening sessions.
Yeah, I can go first. So I've been in touch with the Webster Grove School District, heard back from the social studies curriculum director. So the idea was that we would engage the AP government classes, and kind of invite a few of us to join the class, but I also, and we've got to think through the logistics and details, but I suggested we even give them an assignment of talking to other students and just getting a more well-rounded view, since the current class is only about 24 students and most of them are outgoing seniors. But they were open to doing both one this spring and in the fall, where in the fall we would actually hit about 140 students that'll be enrolled in AP government, and that'll be a mix of juniors and seniors. So Lexi and I had a discussion on kind of next steps, giving each other some update. I think we, shoot for doing both spring and fall. We can kind of treat spring as a pilot. see how it goes, see if, the assignment works out, what we can improve on, and then reach more students in the fall. So I'll just kind of continue that dialogue with, the curriculum director, who I'm blanking on his name, but yes. So, yeah.
And when is the last day of school? Actually, we
it's
don't want to
the-
get too close
yeah,
up
it's
to
the
the end
Friday-
with graduating seniors.
Friday before Memorial Day, so yeah, we'll have to, it's like May 20 something. We'll have to meet quickly then to hit the current group. Yeah. So I'll get in touch with them ASAP with our thinking there and see if we can pull this off within, yeah, to your point. Like, probably before the end of April, before we really kind of lose them to senioritis or whatnot.
Yeah, they still have to
Um,
show up in class though.
Yeah,
That's the
that's true.
thing about
And it
us.
might, it might be like,
Maybe there won't be
low-key
as much
enough.
competition
Right.
for their attention.
right, might be easy enough to do in May as well. So I will get on that ASAP to see what we can schedule with them.
Were you asking for volunteers who would like to go with you?
Yeah,
I would volunteer for that.
yeah, I'll absolutely just kind of email the group with, if they're looking at specific days or if they're looking to us to project those days, I'll find that out and go from there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it hurts to have a group of us. And I also had the question, if we wanted to invite the school resource officer to join, or even, another member of the police department. I think that's something I'm still waiting an answer on, to see what they think. But yeah, so
Sure.
some progress there.
If that, obviously, SRO Bell is in the building,
Yeah, yeah.
and then if they want another person, I'd love to come and join too, so that's
Yeah.
something I enjoy.
The group's posted.
Yeah, so I believe that's, Ms. Thomas's class, I believe. Think
I don't
so,
know if we
because
shared teacher's name specifically.
I know
I do not.
Fred, it's called Fred, but SRO
Yeah.
Bell, he goes into those classes anyways and
Yeah.
does mock trials
Yeah,
and
so
does them.
they'll have familiarity.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Mhm.
so we'll work out some details. I'll let the group know.
Perfect,
Via email in between meetings. Won't make any decisions via email, but. Well, I guess by our April meeting, we should have a pretty clear plan.
Yeah.
If we wanna, that always goes quickly. So
Okay.
maybe if we do need to make any group decisions, we can call an interim Zoom, for that specific task.
I don't know if that actually qualifies as conducting business, scheduling a date for a listening session.
Yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
So
Yeah.
we can probably maybe do that on a quick Zoom.
yeah, you
It's
can,
not a policy.
it's,
or anything.
no, it's not a policy or anything, I think you could schedule a
Okay.
date for that, that would, I think without a quorum.
Yeah, okay, great.
I do just want to point out at least one listening session during the year has to be to citizens only, according to the ordinance. But
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
I think your plan sounds really good, but my daughter did the Fry program.
Yes.
And what I recall is that, they've done most of their work up until now, so that might be an audience that you can get easy access to, because they're kind of already wrapped up their projects.
Okay,
And it's-
Okay.
the more we get into April, the less they're gonna have to do. And
okay,
it's a really great cross-section of people and backgrounds, and they've been working in groups, there's a good community there, so that might be
Yeah.
another.
yeah,
access
I'll absolutely mention that. So I started with my contact being the director of communications, and that was kind of the first route he went, but yeah, I'll mention that to him.
I'm forgetting.
Other, excuse me, there's another program they're starting up. Oh, sorry.
Do you want some to drink?
Water.
You want a water? Well, yeah, we got one water in here. You're welcome.
This CV is the teacher that does that. Yes. She's great.
Kara CV's great.
Did they mention civic engagement? That would be another route to go next year.
I still hold those classes off campus down at the off-site facility. Fabulous.
It's a cool little setup there.
It is down
They
there.
did this big New York trip, and They work hard and, they kind of have like this Shark Tank feature. And so they're very engaged and engaging kind of kids. This might be
That's a
cool kind of
fabulous
race.
program.
And I know Clark, you talked to some centers and.
I did. I had contacted several centers and I'm still trying to get them on their calendars. One I have scheduled for next week, next Friday, 5th. But we were getting into a few vacations, but they're all, when I call them, it's like, oh, yeah, we're gonna send mail again. You have to get through that front door person
Yeah.
to, the others, but they, nobody said no. Question, I did send you my letter that I.
Oh,
read.
yes,
So if anybody wants to cheat or steal it, that's fine.
yeah,
But I had that Our Lady of Life, and then I was told here that it's really not Webster, it's Shrewsbury. I mean, it's the 6311. Do you want me not to keep them in, or, the good news is that there's still a wisdom class. Even though their zip code may not exactly fit Webster, so I'd like to keep going with them.
Do people with the group, are they in Webster? Like the
I
numbers?
haven't gotten to that level.
Yeah.
I'm trying to contact the director and get him to call me. He's been very interested, he's like, oh, let's get you on the calendar, but.
so maybe don't pursue that one quite as strongly as. the
Yeah,
others,
so if
but I
they
think
say
it's
no-
fine if they're like, oh, yeah, we really want to do it and want to set a date,
And it was interesting that one of them actually said, well, since you're coming to collect what you would like, what the residents would like the police to do or not do or whatever, maybe I can just do that internally and get that to you, and then you can take it and respond to it with some action items. I thought that's fine too, so they're thinking about it.
Sure.
Just in different ways, so it's good. I don't have any complaints about the response or lack of response or anything.
Barb, may I interject on that a little
Sure.
bit? I definitely don't want to encourage you to not do that, but those facilities are not in Webster Groves. But feel free to do that, and then we obviously would love to share that with Shrewsbury, because the facilities you're talking about sit in Shrewsbury's venue. And so that could be information we would share with Shrewsbury Police Department, that this would be something that venue would maybe want to
Oh,
do with
that's a
them.
good point, yeah,
So, yes,
So
and we would
we-
love to collaborate with Shrewsbury and maybe share that information with them.
yeah,
So.
it creates that connection.
Yeah, absolutely, because we all are one community, so absolutely. And so it's not, we're just isolating Webster Groves in this, we all are one, we're Webster, Shrewsbury, Kirkwood, Brentwood, we all are, we all, so,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Well, we
And if you're wanting to do the work, then sure, we would share that information.
Yeah, that's good point. I will definitely pursue it that way.
And Barb, depending on the times that they commit to, feel free to share out. If it's not at a time when I've got a work conflict, you have to come along, just have
Yeah.
an extra hearing or something.
Just the
Jesus,
Yeah,
beeping
like
at
with
me.
Lee Groves, the lady was like, we're a big community here. I said, I know. Because she said, I'll have somebody meet you at the door and escort you to the
It's
auditorium.
Stefan,
And all I could picture was, there's Barb sitting on the stage
Right.
and with all these people in the auditorium. And I said, well, this is more conversational, and so we talked about a better way to do
Okay.
that. She was the one that actually said, maybe I can collect it from the different groups that we have. This is what it goes. And then pull it together, give it to you about it, and then you can respond however you want with whatever action items we see that we can provide them. So, I don't think there's one size fits all.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea too.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit of less work on us too, if they
Right.
are collecting the feedback.
Yeah. Well, and I think her comment was, some of these people may think you're coming,
Marie's in her office.
when the
She's
police
emailed
community,
them.
we're gonna have some policemen come,
Right.
so they might misunderstand and come and then be disappointed. It's just me.
Right, yeah.
So,
Well, and we really wouldn't be equipped to
To
answer
answer,
a lot of questions that they might have. I wouldn't want to respond on behalf of the police
oh, yeah,
department,
no, I
so,
wouldn't.
yeah.
We would just take some good notes
Yeah.
and then come back to this group. So I guess.
John, how are you feeling about Webster U and students? Are you feeling like it's still possible this semester or it's better?
Yeah, I've had to be out of town about 2.5 weeks of the last month, so with some families. So I actually just did start talking. We've got a number of faculty and staff that live in Webster Groves and students also that live on the campus. So I was asking a couple of folks how we could let together. So we would do that. I got before the semester.
Awesome.
Might just need to get back with you, Lex, about structure and questions people are they using. But yeah, we'll really do something, you know, before the semester ends. So get across. My goal is to hit up and, you know, voluntold some students and colleagues of mine that show up and do like I think my approach is like a round bag lunch. Bring lunch at noon to one of our meeting rooms and I'll bring cookies and stuff and we'll just kind of, you know, shoot the breeze and take notes. So any kind of structure about there's certain questions we want to ask. I can make it up and wing it, but there's some.
I
structured
have
things.
some, Barb had some good ones too. I can compile them again and make sure that we can share them out. As long as we're not editing a document, I can share a link to a Google Doc, can't I? If it's just to see it, or I can send it via email. I just know I get so many emails that sometimes it's.
Put it in the email on top of my inbox would be great.
Okay, I
Yeah,
will email.
let's
it
do an
to you.
email instead of a Google Doc, because a Google Doc can get into the gray area of,
Okay, even though it's a PDF and we
Yep.
can edit. Okay, very good.
Yeah, same for one, probably one question that is.
Yeah.
To make sure we guide.
Okay. So I don't have any updates. Had contacted in seminar and I haven't heard from the people I contacted so far, so I'm gonna research some additional folks, but Jill and I had an aha moment. We saw
Yeah.
the city is putting on a virtual town hall about the upcoming elections, and they're doing this Facebook live stream, and it occurred to me, if what we're doing is merely listening, and we don't have a quorum, it's a couple board members listening, could we do it via Zoom? Because then that opens it, you know, more broadly
Are you talking about these?
to do listening sessions. Because we were thinking, you know, how do you get people to show up? They gotta come out of their homes, and what if it, you know, if we just said, hey, you know, then we could do it from our homes and, you know, we're sitting there listening, if nobody shows up. We're
Not
not at
necessarily
a loss.
During the time of these meetings, like.
No,
any
not
day
then.
time.
We would schedule
pick.
some specific
Yeah.
times, I would think. Probably promote them with some posts in social media on the police department.
Right, like,
Yeah,
gotta
to
get
get
the
it
word
out
out.
there so
Yeah.
people. know,
Yes.
Oh, yeah, wait, I need to schedule this to myself. for
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, we were thinking, I mean, just in terms of a general kind of audience, providing a Zoom link is maybe one way to just test it, see how it goes.
So, Greg, is that something that you feel like we should check out with the city attorney or?
I think that is something I can definitely inquire for you. I don't think you should do that. That's something I
Yeah, no,
can check, but, I think that would be something we could easily check and do and see if you guys could do a town hall meeting and that we could facilitate for you. We have the facilities to do it. We have the capability to do it. And I could have that set up. I believe that'd be very easily for us to do is set up through our city, through our IT department, send out a link and then put it on our website to have that done. Put it on the PCB website and then advertise it out that we're gonna do a town hall meeting for the PCB to do a town hall. And then just open the meeting up and we would facilitate it and then you guys could be on there for that.
Okay,
I don't see why we couldn't do that, but I will check into that.
yeah.
So this would be in addition to what we're doing to these specific groups, only it kind of fills in the gaps of those groups that we didn't reach exactly.
Yeah,
I think this could be like almost a citywide one,
Yeah.
town hall listening session type thing, however you would want to facilitate it,
Yeah.
obviously.
I would rather not exclude anyone. I
Sure.
think if you're
Right.
a resident or you work in Webster Groves, you're welcome to participate, and we will get a handful of people. I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but I just want to be sure that we do our darndest to get some of these held this year. And it's wonderful that we have students who can use as, you know, they're more of a captive audience because they're doing it through a class and, you know, and the seniors are maybe looking for things to do and, it would be of interest to them, but, you know.
You know, I think it
A lot
would
of
be
the other
almost the
things.
same thing as like what we're doing right now. And it would just be a PCB meeting, and it would be a listening session where I would facilitate it here from within City Hall, and then you all could be wherever you're at. I would promote you all to a panelist,
Mhm.
and then anybody else would just be a member who's joining it, and they would raise hands, ask questions, whatnot, and you all would facilitate the listening session.
This is probably too early to say, but there probably needs to be some rules, guidelines to those who are attending. So it doesn't become a gripe session or, you know, any kind of negative, you know, or somebody who's, even if there's a time limit, you know, I wouldn't want to be as rigid as school board, but, you know, something that just says, you know, present your issue, but don't give me all the gory details about the 6 times you've experienced it. So just, you know, and again, this may be too early, but it just popped.
Sure, something along those lines where like like a city council meeting, you have 3 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever the time, or in a meeting like this where we set people, you know, visitors who come in, you have 3 minutes to state your concerns or whatnot. Those kind of guidelines, or if a person just raises their hand and asks a question, then you would just read the question and then address it. Or something, or take their concerns,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I agree.
Yeah, I think that's good. Okay.
I will let you know.
All righty. Let's see. The next thing I have is review a draft of the annual report. So, last meeting, I, brought to everyone's attention that the city council has created more structure around, different boards and.
Emerson, can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Okay, let me see if I can make it larger. I don't know how to do that. Well, you can see it pretty good, can't
I've
you?
got a hard copy, but I know.
Okay.
Original ones here. So there's a template and these are due to the city clerk on May 2nd, and then I believe it's May 15th. They'll ask all of a representative from each of the boards to come and basically stand up in front. They'll already have received this, so they'll have had time to think about it. All I did is plug information into the template. So this is by no means a final draft. I was a little, I'm not sure I've done it the right way as far as what the year mark-offs are, so maybe Emerson can give us some feedback on it. The first thing is the list of members. They asked for a chair and vice chair. And we don't have a vice chair anymore. And we can't do any new business today, but I would like to suggest that next meeting, we look into nominating someone to be the vice chair or stepping forward if you'd like to do that. It's really not a heavy lift, even as chair. And Jill's been helping me a lot informally, but I'm open to anybody that feels that they have time and would like to do that. And then the mission, purpose, or duties, this is really just lifted from our website. I cut out a little bit of the language because you know, just read the whole website should they wish to, and they were part of writing the ordinance, so. The prior year accomplishments, some of them I didn't have it, we're supposed to list the accomplishments and then the status and the completion date. So some of these I wasn't sure exactly when. Like we did those visioning exercises at the beginning of the year, and then we had a community feedback form that we got up. So I've described what that is, that we discuss submissions at our monthly meetings, if they're pertinent to the purpose of the PCEB. So far, there haven't been any really. We would post those in FAQs on our website. We hosted the following presentations. I just bulleted those out. I included the crime prevention one that was in October. And so I did not mention explicitly that we've then posted those on the website, but I can add that. And that we did some social media posts for building awareness and giving guidance on public safety issues. And that ends, I guess this is what you mean by prior year. So that would be 2023, and this is the current year. That's why I was confused on FY 2025. Do you mean calendar year? I didn't see. Emerson, can you answer that?
Well, the city's fiscal year ends at June 30th. So
Okay.
I would stick around those times.
Oh, that wasn't clear to me that that was the time frame. So this one should be,
Yeah, so we're still currently in FY 23-24. And then we'll switch over on July 1 to FY 24.
It's just FY 20.
FY
2025.
25.
no, FY
In
20,
July, it'll be FY 25.
Right.
okay. Okay. So technically we'd strike off the traffic stops report that was in June 2023. But starting July 2023, we'll include those. As far as our FY 2025 work plan, I guess this would really,
No, there's no trash. We're good. Thank you.
because I was confused about those year cutoffs, this table that's on that second sheet, I think that really belongs in the FY 24 section, not in FY 25.
Because we're in FY
So-
24 now.
Yeah. So we're gonna try and get Webster U, high school students in the AP history class, the senior living centers.
The wisdom class,
Yeah.
AKA senior citizens.
And then a virtual forum, and I think we ought to try and get those in this year. That would be great. So if we're able to, we have one more meeting before this is due to the city clerk. And so we could nail down dates that we're gonna do these.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes,
You know, that one that's June 2023 and the FY 2024 accomplishments that you said we would need to leave out. That first one.
it's posted on.
Yes, and I just think it's important enough that we say, even if,
Well, this is our first formal report too.
Right.
In this,
and so I
Structured,
kind of blur the edge there and just say, yes, okay, if you're going to be anal about this is not in this year. However, we did this, we thought it was important, and there was some good discussion on it. So I think it's important that we just mention it.
Okay.
I would include it as well,
Okay,
in June 2023. Just report it. Don't say nothing else about it. Just report it.
okay. Very good. All right, so then it asks for FY 2025, our annual work plan. And if we have a budget request. And I'm not really sure what to put for this. I know that we've committed in the past to trying to have at least 9 monthly meetings in a year, and usually we've done more. That we will continue to respond to community feedback from the forum, and that we'll conduct more listening sessions. Because those are really the requirements that we have as a board.
And then I think it's going to get into our responses to what we heard,
Yeah.
you know, so that it may kind of evolve into an action item list that we did that will be for 2025.
We could frame that as partnership with Captain Perks and the police department, you know, to incorporate feedback or, you know, just, yeah, creating action plans essentially.
And therein lies the budget. If we do need budget
Right.
money, it may be, let's say, everybody wants, you know, we end up with 6 training sessions that are desired from the police into the community. And you'd have to create them. That's gonna take time and effort and who knows, you know, putting those things together.
Right, and I don't think that we have that information for the fiscal year that starts July 1. You know, at this point, we don't have that input to be able to make a projection.
We wouldn't have it right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's,
But maybe just a note that says, we might need some budget money. You know, I wouldn't say no, we don't need any, but just, we're not sure exactly how to define that yet.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
my recommendation is to stick some number out there. If it's $2,000, $2,500. It's better to be in the budget than out of the budget and have to come back and ask for funds.
Well, I was gonna say, if we're gonna ask, we've got to do it in accordance with the time frame when the city.
Do we have 1,000
Doesn't
already?
explain.
Did we get 1,000 this year?
I don't know.
I think we did.
Yeah, I think it was $1,000 this year.
I think keep it 1,000 until, unless we want to have more work. I think 1,000. We haven't demonstrated a need that we've got to be beyond that.
I mean, this year we've spent pocket change on some lanyards, which I still have to get. They're in the PR office. We haven't done any events, so. It depends on what kind of things we're hoping to do.
yeah,
And if there's a cost to them, so far, we've been able to coast by, you know, monopolizing city staff's time to do stuff for us.
yeah, that's where it gets tricky too, if it's something like the community wants, you know, more Citizens Academy run by the police department, you know, that's kind of police department budget, right, time and effort to do something like that, and we'd have to prioritize, see what's actually possible, from the feedback that we hear. Yeah, long way of saying it's all dependent on kind of the feedback that we hear and. what
Agreed. So
actually-
some of those things are built in to our budget type
Right.
stuff anyways, as part of
Yeah.
our community engagement type stuff anyways. So depending on some of that is, it wouldn't require a budget from you on those kind of things because we're doing those things anyways.
Yeah,
So it would really
if
depend.
it's brand new, that would.
Right.
Have to be a whole larger
It'd be- it just-
conversation
So it's
anyway.
dependent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just had the thought of, at WashU, I know that if we want students to show up for things, we just need to provide food and they will come.
I was just thinking,
And so if we felt that that would be a nice gesture of, you know, to have soft drinks and cookies or something
yeah.
at town halls or things like that. Um,
Or even an event that I don't know what it would be, but something that we sponsor that we would bring food to or have some food, you know, to, I don't know, but food was kind of jumping in my mind too.
Yeah.
Not just kids respond to food, adults as well.
yes, yeah. Well, and I was thinking of, where the fire department and the police department, you put on your community activities. What is it where they had like they did the firehouse and,
Oh, that's our public safety days.
yeah.
That's coming up
public
on
Safety days.
April
and-
27th this year.
Oh, awesome.
Saturday, April 27th.
Okay, well, so Emerson, you were saying 2,000 to 3,000 would not raise your eyebrows as a council member if we would put that in there as just a point of reference, since it's gonna be kind of hard for us to plan right now.
So you had $1,000 this year,
Yeah,
and how much of that did you use?
well,
None.
None.
We had to get a license for something with some Microsoft application.
I don't know, I don't think so.
Zero.
Get a website,
You guys
get
get
an email
$0.
address.
No, they ended up not. The way we
Hey,
did it,
it's-
what didn't cost anything.
$0. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know your budget. You've had $0 spent out of your budget this year.
Yeah,
It's hard to justify more than that.
so,
So if you had $1,000 this year and didn't spend it, I would say if you gotta have a real tight program to say, this is what we need. We need X amount of dollars because we want to do this, this, and this, and this. Because that question will come up. Say, well, what did they do with the 1,000? Say nothing. Well, what are they gonna do
Yeah.
with 2,000?
yeah, I agree. It's like, it's really hard to plan for something that you've never done. And we don't have a very good way to justify it because we haven't done it yet.
I was in
So-
Washington DC, I guess it was last month now, can't remember. The National League of Cities. And I was talking to a counterpart that is in Southern California. I think it was San Diego. Their city is much larger than ours, but their law enforcement went into a senior citizen home, provided them all with whistles. In an event that the senior had a problem, they wore the whistles around their neck. If they had a problem and they can get to the whistle and blow, that's what they do. I mean, that's just promoting some safety things. And they also created with the city a buddy program. If me and Lexi was in the same senior citizen home, I check in on her and she checks in on me. Just things of that nature. And whistles cost money. I don't know how much they cost, but I'm just saying those kind of things you can just plot out. You don't have to be specific what you're going to do, but what you want to do is provide them some type of safety protocols for the police. So, there was another guy. He was from Michigan. Those buttons I've fallen, I can't get up
Yes.
type things.
Yeah.
They subsidized in Michigan. They subsidized some of the cost of those little buttons for the seniors. Yeah. So.
Wow, that would add up, because I know what my mom's cost.
Really
Oh.
not expensive part.
It's not, the upfront cost isn't that much. It's that you pay every month
Yeah.
for the service to keep it. And it's less than the phone, but
Still.
still, that's one mom.
Yeah.
We've got everybody's mom. That could add up.
We need to
Okay.
give Dr. Scott a farewell gift.
So we have not done that with any of our board members before when we left. And of course, he's gone. So when I knew ahead of time for someone else, I thought, we could bring foods or something. But, yeah. But that's a nice thought, Barb, you know, to recognize people that have served on the PCB.
Yeah, I
This
was
is a whole
a
group
little
of them.
surprised, you know, when he just kind of said, no, this is it, I'm done, you know,
That's really,
bye.
yeah,
And I know it's okay for all of us here, you know, we wouldn't, you know, cry,
yeah.
but it's just that little gesture. Thank you.
All right, well. Do we wanna? What do you have?
I was just gonna say, is it within the format of the report, can we include copies of the social media things that Sloan designed? Kind of archive them in the document. You could put like 3 or 4 pages.
Okay. And then ongoing long-term projects. So something that was shared with me, and I remember when I was asked to give a report last August to the city council, and they were talking a little about, you know, in the future, having a diversity, equity, and inclusion committee and how PCEB might relate to that. Given that that was a consideration of the city council at the time, like how do those two work together? I don't really know, like, how long-term are we? And where is the city council in terms of thinking about that?
Lexi, that was not the city council. That was me sharing the idea with PCEB.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, so there's not been any conversations. It's just something I know is going to happen. The DEI commission, and I thought that would work pretty good with you guys. And also, like I said, when going to the National League of Cities, groups like ours, like you guys, public safety was part of their agenda. So that's, I think with public safety, that would encompass not only the police, the fire as well. And that's what you kind of focus on. And the engagement of both of those departments is still part of the PCEB. For me, it might be a name change, you know, than the police community engagement board, but I think that'll give you a little bit more things to put on your agenda. You know, public safety. You know, when it comes time to check fire alarms and smoke detectors and all that stuff, that will happen. Same thing with the training that you do for invaders. I mean, so there's an invasion or something of that nature. So, but that was just all me. That's
okay,
yeah. So that we were going to go that way. I'm more positive. I'm positive about that. But that's be something to think about to kind of design your PCEB.
okay, so that seems like that's pretty contingent. We don't really need to factor that into our decision-making, no. So I don't know if the council is really looking for, from every single board and commission, a long-term project. I mean, our mandate is really to be a liaison between the police and the community and foster engagement and communication. So I don't know how much we have to really put there at this point, or that maybe next year we'll have a long-term.
And I
Project to
think
put
it's gonna come out of what we're actually doing right now,
Right.
which is listening to our community. And then we're going to respond to that. Short-term goals, long-term projects, any holes in the world that
Maybe
we
you
are
could
in.
keep it general as a response, like our ongoing long-term project is response to listening session feedback, responses and action plans to listening session feedback. And that's kind of what we put there. As that comes together, I have a lot more to share.
So I want to open it up to some thoughts here about how do we, I don't need to own this. I would love to have more collaboration in working on this document. I just wanted to get us kicked off with the draft. And so knowing that we are not permitted to do any kind of Google documents because we have to save each version to be in compliance with Sunshine. What are some thoughts about how we could get more people being able to give feedback into this? Because it's not really at a point that I think you might all want to edit, but I'm happy to kick it over and pass it around if we do it via email. Or how could we arrange this?
Can we just do it via email and say, you know, Jill's draft, now I'm gonna pass it to John to look at, who's gonna pass it to Barb, you know, this sounds so silly and manual, but just kind of making sure we have.
Yeah, I think it is silly and manual, but unfortunately, that's
Yeah,
the best way for a record of it, because
Mhm,
under
yeah.
Sunshine, otherwise, because of Google Documents and opening things up like that, that are editable and changeable and stuff like that, there's no way of tracking.
Yeah.
Under Google, so I think we have to go that route, unfortunately.
So we could either do it that way, where someone just claims ownership of the document via email, or like, I'm happy to own the master and have people just send feedback and then I can act in.
You know, we're not that big of a group. We
No,
have done this kind of thing on project teams where you had 30 people. You know, so
Right.
how do you know, you're checking it out, you're making changes, you're
Right.
telling people what you did or didn't do or deleted or this is. But, you know, I'd be willing even to, let's say Lexi and I get together. And we take everything we talked about and we put it down there. And then once we kind of have it pretty well, you know, 70% or better. And then we go, okay, Jill, take a look at this.
Sure.
You know, and so you're kind of limiting it, you know, John, you have less time than any of us, you know, so now you take a look at it. You know, and then just, and again, it's not a lot of people. So, or Jill and John want to get together and just, you know, over a cup of coffee, just go, oh, why did she put this in there? You know, no, you know, I think we can do it without a whole lot of pain. Just even if it is manual.
And that works just as long as, which would be very difficult with this group since you're so small, but as long as you don't have enough people together to formulate a quorum. Because as soon as you have a quorum, then that becomes a business.
So it's gotta be under what, 9?
Five, I think 5 in this group is a quorum, right?
Yeah.
5 or 6.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's based off of
I think
the
it's,
actual amount of members. Well, I mean, I know that like for this meeting it is,
Yeah.
but I still think that they should be on the safe side, stick to.
Yeah, 2 or 3 max.
three,
2 or 3
so that
max.
it's not violating the,
Yeah.
the spirit of what it.
Yeah,
it's
that way
there
there's no question about it. So what you're talking about, Barb, would be perfect. 2 or 3 max. And that way there's no question about it. Then we wouldn't be official business. So
I've never been where we're fishing.
you can obviously do small work sessions. That's no problem.
It's fine.
okay, well. I will take what I've heard here and plug it into this draft. What I would like to do, because I've got a really busy week coming up next week with my mom. And so if I could pass it on to the next person, and could I propose that we just like, if you have a document and you're going to, we can track changes, and just save it with your initials at the end of the document. And that way we have those different versions. Barbara, I would love to say I could meet with you. I don't know what your schedule is like. So if right after we're done meeting, if we can find a time that works, but I've got to help my mom with a bunch of stuff.
Next week is crazy for me.
Yeah.
I'm working the elections,
Yeah,
you know, Monday is a crazy day, Friday is one of my meetings, so we can leave out next week if you want, and go
yeah.
after that, unless you have time to do a brain dump of what you heard here into the document, and then just.
I think what I'll do is get it in tonight because I'm gonna remember it best then. And then I will email that document and I'm gonna say whoever wants to pick it up next and take a stab at it, just claim it so people know and we'll get it through.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. But I can get those social media posts in there too. I think I have all of them. And if not, I can go to the police department's page and grab.
Or Sloan's been doing them all in Canva,
Yeah,
so they're to be saved in there.
she's been doing it from her Canva. you know,
Yeah.
And so she'll probably be able to
Yeah,
extract them if I
take
can't
her
find
note.
her. Okay,
It's just- I mean.
I'll guilt her into
yeah.
it since she didn't come to the meeting tonight.
They don't take your versus going through that.
What are we gonna do in the news?
You know, I don't have anything for tonight. It seemed like there would be had been things popping up and last meeting, it was, the big news in Kansas City. So I left it on the agenda in case that was something that people felt was important to include.
I had two little things, but in the
Sure.
interest of time. One was a question from way back. Where we had the police officer stopping a guy who had 4 young kids in the car.
Oh,
And, and we didn't discuss it, and it was they were doing an investigation.
Mhm.
So I went out there and tried to dig up that news.
I haven't been able to find a peep on it.
Well, and it's like, nobody was held accountable, there was nothing, no charges were made, the mom apparently left the funeral home wherever and went the path she knew found the kids and everybody was happy, so it kind of, it had all this shame on those police for leaving those young kids, and yet nothing was done. So to me, that's as much a question as what was the result of that. I don't know how to pursue it though, if you can't find anything. Maybe I didn't do a deep dive in the right places. I was just
Hazelwood?
Hazelwood.
Yeah, it was
And
Hazelwood.
yeah. My old notes, it was it News 4 or Fox? KMO,
One of them.
I can't remember which one picked it up. It had been on more of a social media news site before that. I think a lot of that stuff, it just doesn't get picked up. It might be, if the family has decided to do something about it,
yeah.
they may have contacted a lawyer, but we aren't gonna know any of that.
And it wouldn't probably be newsworthy.
Probably not. So,
Well, that was just one thing. The second thing I wanted to share my own personal experience of working with the police this week. In our neighborhood, I'm sitting upstairs in my house in the afternoon. And I hear a crunch. And it sounded like somebody lifting up a ladder, how you need to put the rungs up. Since my husband getting on the roof again, I was gonna, And I look out my window and there is a black sedan sitting right on top of a street sign. The street sign that we have in front of our house, we have a corner house. It had the speed limit and no parking, one of those little concrete in there. She was right on top of it. And I knew that was it. And I could see her arm in despair. You know, I could see it was a young girl in the car by herself. And so I was just like, honey, what are you gonna do with that one? And she started to then roll off the sidewalk and back onto the street and down, and I wish I could have gotten a license plate, but I was at an angle where I couldn't. All I can say was that it was a black sedan. So then I come downstairs and then I go out there and I see, you know, she rolled right over the pole, so the whole pole was flat. And there were two car parts, like she hit it to the front fender and the blinker things came off. You know, nobody got hurt in this.
Right.
And my husband, he's coming out like, what's going on? I said, look at this. I said, I saw it, I heard it. I looked, I saw her, she's gone now. What should I do? And he said, well, maybe we can call the city, you know,
It's a
whoever
non-emergency.
the road does the roads. I couldn't find anything in the little magazine that I had, so I called city council and they said, oh yeah, call the police, you know, but the non-emergency thing. So I talked to somebody, the gal took the, I'll send a police officer out. I'm like, nobody was hurt. I'll send a police, okay. Officer Gift came out and he was not happy. And I told him what happened. And before that, though, let me tell you this. I was talking to my husband and I'd gone inside and came out and I saw this man taking the pole and putting it back in the ground. You can't put those back in the ground because they're all concrete, you know, and when she took it out, you can't. He was there with his daughter. Middle school, maybe, skinny little thing. And I said, hey, what are you doing? And he said, oh, just putting this pole back up. I said, oh, Good Samaritan. And then he said, well, you know, no damage done or just small talk. And then he started going down the street, and as he's going, I see he's got the two pieces of the front fender. Two little, you know, whatever the blinker things are that, you know, had popped up. He's got both of them. I said to my husband, should I pick these up? And he said, no, you know, don't mess with any of that. This guy had them. And so as they're walking down the street, I said, hey, you don't have to carry those. You want me to throw them away for you? Oh, no, that's okay. And I thought, red flag, they must be on your car, right? So, then when the officer came, I had taken as they were going down the street, I said to my husband, take a picture of them. So, but their backs were to us and they were pretty far down the street by now, you know, so I do have that picture, but for what it's worth, you know, and then I did get a call from, but this gets better. I did get a call from the road group and they said, oh, just leave the sign there, you know, we'll come and get it or replace it or whatever. Okay, about a week goes by and the sign's there on the curb. All of a sudden, it's back up, but leaning. And I said to my husband, what happened? Who would put that back up? I mean, it's not gonna stay. So we go outside to investigate. It had been put back in the pole, leaning, but next to it were 4 beer cans and a case of beer and a necktie. And I'm thinking, okay, did the little girl get her friends to come and make it look like some boys hit this again? I mean, it was already.
Seems
So-
like a prank more like to me. Why would,
What's funny about this? I mean, you know, it's. Maybe, but I'm aggravating my police, you know, by making them come out to look at something silly like this. And then finally, we picked it out, we put it in our driveway, and I called again and I said, would somebody come and take this away? I said, we moved it to our driveway, and so that it was gone. You know, whoever from the city came and put it in their car and took it. And I was just like, how do we stop? What I wanted was I even said to this father, did you do that? Did you hit it? And he said, oh no. If you did it, just admit it. Just admit it. Pay for it if there's a fee, so it doesn't go on your car insurance or whatever. That's what annoys me. I'm bothering people that shouldn't be bothered because we're driving like crazy people. These are shortcuts. Oakwood is a shortcut. And they go speeding down and you can only park on one side. And so this young lady probably, and I am judging her, but I really believe she did it, that. So, and I wasn't even gonna bring this up, but I thought, I think the issue underneath it is the speeding that we get, at least on Bonport. If you don't live near that, you wouldn't be aware of it. But it's just, and I can't say it's any particular kids, but everybody's just on their tails, and there's bus stops right on our corner. I don't ever want to see anybody get hurt because people are going around but I don't know what to do about it. I really don't. I put John to sleep.
Well, I can only speculate that it's bigger than Bompard, bigger than Webster Groves. I know they've had to put up the signs just right here on the corner about you absolutely have to stop for pedestrians. It's like the earlier sign wasn't enough, but it's like more.
It's like a suggestion.
Yeah.
It's not even
Yeah. No, I've been driving down the street and had people drive into oncoming traffic because they decided that my speed limit driving wasn't fast enough. And you really, yeah.
And I
it happens a
apologize
lot.
to you.
No.
I thought you were over it,
No. It is scary how fast some people will drive. So,
well, if you're making a left and somebody's going around you.
no, I was going like
Straight.
25 on the straightaway going, somebody's like. So fortunately, no accidents that have happened in front of me. Oh, I did get it rear-ended today, so that wasn't fun. but,
Good.
On that note.
Yeah. So, let's see, I don't have anything else. Anybody wanna move the adjourn?
Like I
Don't
just,
really need
like
to
I-
adjourn it.
No.
Not an official
Oh,
meeting.
that's right, it's not.
We're out of here.
We're out of here.
yeah, like I said, I have one update I'd like to give, just to make
Oh,
sure.
sure, Emerson.
April the 2nd is election day. Just spread the word. And two, we'll give you opportunity if you had any questions about Prop W, I'll see if I can answer them for you. We've been holding sessions over the last couple of weeks for different community groups. We had one last night at the public library. So I try to answer any questions you might have or about Prop W. There's gonna be about 10, I think it's 10 different amendments as well for the charter that'll be on the ballot.
Emerson, I have one question that keeps coming up to me.
Uh-huh.
And it is Prop W is no tax increase, correct?
No tax rate increase, yes.
No tax rate increase.
Mhm.
However, if people vote no, your taxes would decrease. I'm hearing
That is correct. Last night, Mayor Arnold gave an example of a $350,000 home. If the bond fails, the person's tax will decrease by $69 for the year.
Okay,
Yeah, I always remind people, the school district get the bulk of your taxes, not the city. But so that was just an example that we use. You're not really, you'll be saving $69, but looking at what can happen, with the passing the bond issue outweighs sometimes more than receiving that $69 back.
I guess that, thank you. I haven't been able to get anybody to admit that if you say no, taxes will go down. I know.
Well, when
you
we
would
get the
say-
we'll get the new tax rates in September, I believe, September, October from the county. Whatever that rate is, that's what we'll charge. But, yeah, your taxes should go down.
I mean, whether the amount, it's not so much the amount, it's just all of these luxury items that are being got, and this is not me speaking, this is when I'm talking to people about Proposition W. They see the sign, but luxury items, as luxury meaning a new pool. If you look around here, a lot of people have just pools in their backyards, and they're not even using it as much. There's
I will
issues,
tell you
but-
that our pool is over 30 years, about 30 years old. And as the older the pool, we'll have to start probably putting money in it just to fix it. Same thing with the ice rink and things of that nature. Don't know what kind of improvements or repairs that will have to come to the pool, but we do know it's on the brink. That's how the longevity of that pool is at hand.
It's still a whole lot of money, 22 million. Over,
Well,
all of
understand
these different things, so.
the pool is, I think, about 12 million out of that 22 million. And the rest of it will go to parks and other recreational around the city, repairing tennis courts, ice arena, playground equipment. We do some solar panels for green in the project. So it's, I don't know, you call it luxuries. I call it needed infrastructure repair. If we don't repair it now, while we can get the money at the same no tax rate increase, now's the time to get it. But I'm not telling you how to vote. I'm just telling you that's how I look at it in the city council.
I wouldn't listen to you anyway, Emerson, telling me how to vote. You know that.
Oh, yeah. So
I'm just kidding.
no, it's just when these things come up and we need funds to repair it, but it's not that we don't have the funds. We have a very healthy reserve. That's where that money has to come from the reserves. And you want your reserves there for a rainy day. How it's going to rain or what the rainy day is, I don't know. But I can tell you that there's been infrastructure repair on the city properties pretty much in the last 2 years. Like now, right now, the room you're sitting in, there's going to be a new roof over that building. And I think once they started looking at the roof, they found out it was asbestos in it. So they had to remediate that out of the roof. So it's a lot of different, I don't know why the infrastructure of the city buildings were ignored. I don't know. But I do know it's time to repair. There was one department wanted to put new carpet in. Then on the other hand, they said the roof leak. Well, wait a minute, you mean you're gonna put a new floor and you got a leaky roof? That don't sound right, So it's those type of things that that needs to be repaired. So, any other questions or concerns?
Thanks.
Okay,
All right,
that's it.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Emerson.
See you, Emerson.
All right, good night.
Night.
Good night.